Good evening, class. Hamza Abdullah once again here. Today I'll be discussing, welcome to analysis video 6, discussing chapter 8, body image in the media and media's representation of body image. I will say that this chapter was a very interesting read for me specifically and personally because I have dealt with certain body dysmorphic or body dysmorphia issues growing up myself. So to start off, I'll start with some of my biggest takeaways and notes from the chapter. Within the chapter, it started out reading with how the media, starting back with actors and magazines and just different media outlets, would show the ideal body was always perfect with perfect white teeth, fair skin, or perfect, not even just the skin color, but when it came to the body type, just showing the body type, that they always had perfect white teeth, enviable hair, with perfect body shape, with the men having a perfect six-pack abs, with muscular bicep, muscular legs, and the women having a perfect curvy body, a Coke bottle body shape to be exact, was a term coined back in the 60s and 70s, in the 50s as well, excuse me. And that was the idea of body shape represented, started back in media outlets. NPD reports that 1 in 5 Americans, adults, reported being on a diet in 2012 compared to 1 in 3 Americans in 1991. Another note, and starting with that, dieting, another big issue or another big topic discussed within the chapter was bulimia and pro-bulimia and pro-anorexic websites. And we're going to get into that a little bit later within the video. But another note is the NPD reports direct dieters numbers decreased every year at the beginning of the year, starting back in 2002. So it just goes to show that within the years moving forward from 2002 moving forward, that people stating that they were on diets, stating that they were on diets and staying on their diets decreased every single year. Another interesting fact is that the authors of the Ebony magazine found that when they included articles about dieting while including groups of overweight women in their articles, it led to a greater acceptance of larger body sizes within the African American community being accepted. So the more that they the more that they included, that just goes to show that inclusion leads to more exception, and better representation leads to more inclusion, which leads to better acceptance, in my opinion. So the more that they included plus size models, also with dietary and exercise facts within the magazine, it also showed a bigger acceptance within the African American community of women who were plus size. Another interesting fact is research shows that verbal content of media reinforces the idea that Caucasian women must be thin to be attractive. That was a study that was taken from magazines, and not as well as magazines, but also movie actresses. They showed that if the Caucasian woman, female lead, 9 times out of 10, if she wasn't thin or she wasn't blonde, so to speak, with bluer eyes, but mainly focusing on her being thin, they didn't really call her attractive if she didn't fit that mold. Cosmetic surgeries also, I want to go back. Another note that I took, but that I found interesting within the chapter, is between January 1989 and April 2007, several magazines articles on studied body shape and related articles, and several magazines articles on exercise and diet and weight loss declined, but increased again from 2003 to 2007. Cosmetic surgery articles also increased during this time. Pro-Mia and pro-Ana websites, that's what I wanted to get into, that I mentioned earlier within the video. So with that being said, pro-Mia or pro-Ana websites, these are of the viewpoint that eating disorders are not disorders, but a lifestyle that should be encouraged and accepted, and things of that nature. I, for one, personally find this not offensive, but very harming in a sense, because I was a very, very skinny kid growing up. I'm 6'6" now. pushing like 190 towards 200 pounds, but I was almost anorexic, and it got to a point where I started lifting and working out to put some size on, and I eventually did. But it led to a lot of injuries as far as well as me running track. I ran track from 2018 to 2022 from Alabama State University. But it also led to me ego lifting, so I can just keep getting bigger and keep getting bigger and keep getting bigger. Because personally speaking, that's I always saw, and it was mentioned within the chapter, that a lot of action heroes who were heroes and main figure leads, main character leads in movies, and who kids probably growing up just like me looked up to, they were always strong and buff and stuff like that. So it always in my head clicked that the bigger I got, the stronger I got, the more lean and fit that I got. It just equal to better me, so to speak. So they mentioned that I can say I'm definitely living proof of the studies that were mentioned within the chapter, that the influence and imparting that as and representation has on young-minded children, how it carries into their later adulthood status. Another interesting fact is these Thinspo or Thinspiration, which are pro and a pro, and websites. One of them had this on their website: if you want to lose weight, go on a diet, fatty. One is either anemia or not. It is a gift, and you cannot decide to have an eating disorder. So if you are looking for a way to lose weight, sorry, Junior, move on, try Jenny Craig. Quote from Pro website. To me, that just goes to show that a lot of people who are obsessed with being thin, who are obsessed with being smaller, who are hell-bent, so to speak, on staying that way and getting that way and staying that way, it goes to show that how far the mental effect or the mental aspect of how deep the rabbit hole can go when people are inspired or they are just beyond motivated, and they're just they make it their life goal to just be thin because they saw this somewhere, or they saw that this model was thin in the magazine and this is the ideal, and they take that and stretch it a nautical mile and go to the moon with it, and they feel like, well, not just be thin, I'm going to be thinner than thin. And so they start to be anorexic and pro-bulimic and pro-anorexic. So that's another thing that I found kind of disturbing in my opinion. A study of GQ, Rolling Stone, and Sports Illustrated from 1967 to 1997 showed that the lean V-shaped ideal became more ideal for men between the 60s and the 80s. Popularity dropped. However, in the 90s, muscularity increased. In the 90s, I was born in 2000. 35% of men in magazines were very muscular compared to just 9% in the 60s. Magazines targeted towards another interesting fact that I found within the chapter was magazines targeted towards homosexuals. Homosexual men showed the ideal body for them was thinner than most men. Just going to show that it's a correlation between they want women to be thin and homosexual men, they want them to be thin as well. That's just something I found interesting within the chapter. Analysis of male characters in top grossing action movies, like I mentioned earlier, from 1980 to 2006, showed that 76.1% of male characters were muscular, 65.4% had low body fat. So whether they were muscular or had low body fat, the majority of them were either or of those. So that just goes to show the influence that it had on me. So looking into my later life, that's just one of the things I had to self-reflect on and come to terms with ego lifting and things of that nature and such. Even me, earlier in life, just being so small and dang near anorexic, it was one of those things that I always kind of felt personal and took personal, because I didn't really get kind of bullied, but it was one of those things, haha, you're skinny. It's one of the things you can easily kind of pick out when we kind of talk about each other, when everybody talking about each other as kids. So it was definitely one of those things, like I said, I kind of carried around with me as a chip on my shoulder. But as I got older and I started to have therapy and things of that nature and such, it kind of just released itself upon self-reflection and things of that nature. So thank y'all.